Information doesn't create transformation. And this was a hard lesson for me to learn because I was doing all the fancy personal development stuff. I was doing the habits, reading a book a week, listening to the podcast. I was consuming all of this content, but nothing was working. I was seeing some progress, but I wasn't seeing the results that I was looking for. I wasn't experiencing the breakthroughs that I wanted to experience. So I thought something is wrong with me because this stuff is working for other people, but it's not working for me. And other people are saying that knowledge is power, read these books, do these habits, and you'll be successful. But I wasn't experiencing the success. So I also thought that they have something that I don't have. They have some insights or some information. And I needed to acquire that missing piece of information, and then I'll be successful. And this is why I was anxiously just consuming all of this stuff and reading all of the books, because I thought this is what you're supposed to be doing until something clicks. And eventually, I had a conversation with a coach. And in our first session together, I was just explaining my story, how stuck I was, how I didn't know how to grow my coaching business from the point where I was at. And then he shared with me in that moment, let's imagine that you are my mentor. And I come to you with that question on how to grow my coaching business from this point. What would you advise me to do? How would you explain that process? So I started to explain that whole process with so much detail and with so many nuances. And when I was talking, eventually I was done, and he looked at me and said, you know that you can start a whole business simply teaching this framework to other coaches. Why are you not doing it? And when he said that question, why are you not doing it? I got completely stunned. I was like, fuck, this is the thing that I was looking for. I wasn't looking for information or that missing piece of information. I was looking for permission. And I didn't even realize it. I didn't even know that I was looking for permission to go all in with all the knowledge that I already have. And when I started to apply all of this relentlessly, you guessed it, I had my breakthroughs over and over and over again. I received all the results that I was looking for. It was that simple. And this is how I learned this hard lesson of information doesn't equal transformation. And this is where I also got angry at personal development, because I went completely the opposite way. I stopped consuming any content. I stopped listening to the podcast. I stopped reading books, because I also am a philosopher at heart. So I love to think deeply about certain aspects of life, and especially about the human experience. But what I started to do is, I don't want to be a philosopher up here. I want to be a philosopher through experience. I want to gain my knowledge and insights through experience. So whenever I wanted to learn something, I wanted to do it as fast as possible. This is how I started to approach personal development. I started to look for the things that I was afraid to do. I was looking for my edge and lean into it over and over and over again. And this is where I experienced the most amount of transformation, by doing these things. And I see so many people that are stuck in this reading the books and listening to the podcast. And I am doing it. I am doing the personal development, how you're supposed to be doing it. But what is the thing that you're actually looking for? And this is something that I didn't deeply ask myself when I was reading the books and doing all of this stuff. Why am I doing this? Why am I actually doing all of these habits? Why am I actually reading all of these books? What is it that I'm looking for? Do I just want to feel inspired? Because a lot of people will give some surface level answers, but you have to go deeper. If you give your first answer to that question, why are you, let's say, reading the books? Ask yourself as well, why are you actually reading the books? What is the result that you're actually after? Because in a lot of cases, the books are not going to give you that result. The podcasts are not going to give you that result. And that's something that I just did not realize in that moment. Now I'm reading books again. Now I'm listening to the podcast again, but I'm doing it from a different place. I am very clear on my intention of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing it for inspiration. I'm doing it for the creativity. And that's the intention that I bring into consumption. But I also want to limit my consumption. But most people are not clear on what do you actually want. And you can be completely honest with yourself. The amount of people that I talk to that are afraid to say, I want to make more money, they almost feel embarrassed to say, like, I want to make more money. So they cover this up in all the fancy stuff, and I want to be of service, and I want to create an impact in the world, and I want all of this, but they are under such high financial stress, they are too afraid to say, I want more money. It's so important that you own your intentions and own what you want. But you have to get clear on what you want. And this is how you know how to align everything that you're doing in your life with your goals. Because 95% of the things that you're consuming is useless in this stage of your life. It's not serving you, it's not bringing you closer to the goal. You need to become competent in prioritization. How do you discover the needle movers? How do you discover the few actions that are actually important? And not just the actions that you maybe need to do once or that you need to do consistently, but what are the bold moves that you could take towards your goals? What are the actions that you are avoiding to do? So if you look at the personal development stuff, the habits, the books, the podcasts, with consuming all of this stuff, what is the action that you are avoiding? What is the thing you're avoiding to look at by doing all of this stuff? This is what you want to get to. What confrontation are you avoiding? What scary action are you avoiding? What conversation are you avoiding? Because when you look at your goals, the actions towards your goals are very simple. It is not that complicated. And if you make it complicated, either your goal is way too big or you're going to way too much into detail. Usually there are only a few actions, sometimes even one thing that you need to do consistently to reach your goals. That's it. Maybe a few projects and a few habits. Nothing more, nothing less. And you can add some personal development stuff as supplementation, some habits that you're learning, especially around productivity, but it's supplementation to the core of what you want to be doing and what you want to be focusing on. And this is where I did it the opposite. Personal development was my core, and I was avoiding all the scary actions on the side. And when I realized that I need to make all the scary actions and the most important actions the core of what I'm doing, and I'm supplementing this with productivity strategies, that's when I started to see massive results. For example, time blocking. It's one of the strategies that I've been using for most of my life. How do I use my calendar as effectively and efficiently as possible? How do I manage my time properly? How do I schedule my days and schedule my weeks? This is something that I'm focused on a daily basis, because I really see the benefit of supplementing the core actions that I need to be taking with a strategy like that. But are you clear on your core actions? Are you clear on what you truly desire and truly want out of life? What the targets are that you're after, and what the needle movers are, and the actions that are the highest priority to get you to that place. This is what you need to be focusing on. You need to cut off all the noise. Stop with all the consumption, because through all of this consumption, it's also harder to listen to yourself and listen to your heart. And this is my definition of success: living as close to my heart as possible. And for some people that may sound vague, but what is my heart telling me to do? I don't want to create from my mind. My mind is all about safety and about certainty and about perfection, and it wants to know all the information because it needs to be certain, even though my heart was looking for, or my mind was looking for permission. My heart was ready to go. My heart was ready to take action, but my mind thought we need more information before we can take action. So that's why I want to live from the heart. The heart is a risk taker. The heart wants adventure for you. And I'm not looking anymore for information. I'm looking for the thing that I'm afraid to do. These kind of things. Of course, I have my prioritization when it comes to my goals, but in there, I'm looking for can I take a bold move? Where can I challenge myself? What is the thing that I'm avoiding? What is the thing that I'm afraid to look at? And lean into these kind of experiences and actions. When I feel fear, I want to stay with the fear instead of moving away from it. When I feel resistance, when I am procrastinating, I want to move towards it instead of backing down from it like, oh shit, I'm procrastinating or distracting myself. So this is at the core, I believe, of transformation. It's not the information that you acquire, because I believe at the foundation, you have to take action first, and then you know what information you're looking for. You can read all the books about sales. You can get all the courses about sales. But when you are on your first sales call, you know what information you're missing. I can get all the courses on doing handstands, for example, and I can learn all the nuances of the basics or the fundamentals. But when I'm doing my first handstand, I immediately know what is working and what is not working. I immediately know where my strengths are and my weaknesses. So I know how to adjust my workout schedule based on the data that I gathered through doing my first handstand. And most people are stuck in planning, in preparation, in doing research, because they're looking for that certainty. Maybe they're looking for permission. They're looking for safety. They're looking for perfection. They are trying to prevent something bad from happening, so they just stay in preparation mode, thinking they are productive. But productivity is not a feeling. Productivity is measured in your output. You can measure productivity. You can see it in the tangibles. It's what are you creating? That's where real productivity shows up. So I hope that sparked something inside of you to get rid of all the noise and to really focus on the few things that matter, because we overcomplicate personal development way too much. And at its foundation, it's very simple, but it's also often the work that most men avoid and most people avoid in general. The work that really creates breakthroughs in your life.